our new job. We're gonna put a firewall plate over there and one over there, and we have some wheel tubs that we're gonna fit over on each side. Might have to do some cutting in there, and we're gonna paint them up. And here we have a little bit of rust work to do, nothing major, and we'll paint the interior. But look at them rims, nice. Airbag suspension. Those are the panels that are going on the firewall. It's going to stay all patina on the outside. Keep your eyes out for this one. Kevin here from Harrington Classic Car Restorations. We're going to take these wheels off of this 73 Sierra GMC. They're expensive wheels, so we want to protect those wheels. What you do is you tape up your socket so you don't scratch these rims. Hey, little dog. And that one, just when they break them loose, and then you can take them off slow and carefully. Place them down there on the floor. And then take your wheel off, because those are some really nice rims. We don't want to scratch them. We'll take them off the car. We'll put them somewhere safe, store them, and then most importantly, we'll take these lug nuts and we'll put them back on the studs so they don't get kicked around, lost, or what have you. And there you go. Okay, so here it is screwed in. I haven't cut anything else off. I just cut this one piece off here so the panel would go on, and I outlined it to where I'm going to cut just inside that. This is going to need to be trimmed a little bit. There's a little excess here, which is nice. This was pretty much flush up against that piece there. I'm going to have to do a little trimming in this, which is good, because I can cut this panel here the same time I cut that panel there, and then we can butt it right up against there and make it look really, really nice. So there you have it, all screwed in, so it's marked for later. Before you start cutting and grinding, make sure you cover that windshield so no sparks get on there. Anywhere there's glass, make sure you cover it up. We'll be doing a lot of cutting here pretty soon. Now that I have it outlined on where it's gonna go, we're gonna cut that out about 1/4 of an inch in, right where them bolts are. Okay, that panel's all cut out. I'm going to drill these spot welds out to get that extra sheet metal off, because I wanted to keep this inner structure with a curve in it, because I'll show you in a minute there's a curve there, so we want to keep that curve, and I added support for that panel so I can either spot weld it back in or we can panel bond it. I'll talk to Lewis about that later on before I start welding it in. So there you go. It's almost ready to go in. I'm going to come back tomorrow because I wanted to save that structure there, and we're going to trim that to make it look a lot cleaner than that. And down there is going to get butt welded. This whole thing up here is going to get butt welded. And then outside will be butt welded. So that's going to be only structure piece left, so it doesn't flop around and make like an oil can sound when he's driving. Kevin here from Harrington Classic Car Restorations in Asheboro, North Carolina. This is all welded in, all ground down, ready for a little bit of fiberglass, and then we'll DA it and epoxy it. And we have to weld this hole up and then weld that hole up. And then we'll move on to the other side over here. Moving right along. After I just got this all cut out, I did fit the panel. I have my screw holes here, so when I screw it on and I go to weld it, I'll cut this panel out and pull it out through here when I'm done welding. And then we got to grind this piece off here, and inside this I'm either going to weld it solid from the inside, or I might just spot weld it. We'll see what happens, because there's a curve in here. I kind of try and like to get that out of there. And we're going to trim this a little bit so that's flush to the bottom of the inside panel. And we'll be ready to start welding it on. So stay tuned. I have the outside all screwed in. Here's the inside of the cab. And as you can see, I have more that I can trim. I would like to trim this a lot more here to make this look better on the inside. Even though that'll get covered up with a firewall pad, I just can't have that. It's got to look nice. So when I paint it and the customer comes and looks at it, it's got to be right. So, and I can trim more of that up there where you see it's cut already. So that'll all get trimmed off up there also. And then we'll be ready to, I'm actually going to come in here and mark this and see where I'm at with the panel. And I'll take it off and see how much more I need to cut. Kevin here from Harrington Classic Car Restorations in Asheboro, North Carolina. Just a quick tip, I took my Bondo spreader from Klingspor and I cut it. And the reason I cut it is because I'm going to use this Evercoat fiberglass to fiberglass the welds where there might be little pits here and there. And we measure it so we can get the right amount to spread on there, because I don't want to use the whole thing and get body filler or fiberglass all over this panel. So we cut our spreader. Most of you guys already know that, and we'll make it nice and slick that way as we go around. And that should be that. So stay tuned. Okay, we trimmed out the fenders. We could have took this out, but we left that in there just in case. So we trimmed out the fenders. They match the wheel tubs. We also welded up the holes we needed to weld up, and we did some fiberglass work. We'll sand that fiberglass and get that ready for primer, and then we'll sand those two pieces and get it ready for paint. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, Kevin here from Harrington Classic Car Restorations. We used some of that cling spore body filler over the fiberglass. We'll sand that tomorrow. We sanded that wheel tub, and we also trimmed these fender wells out on both of these fenders. Welded some holes up with that Hobart welder for the firewall. This one's coming together, and it's coming together quick. Stay tuned. Kevin here from Harrington Classic Car Restorations. We did all the body work to the firewall, welded up those holes that need to be welded up, did all the body work, and reprimed it. That thing's looking really good. So after this, we are going to go and we have to do some seam sealing to the inside after we scuff the inside. I'll show you that in a second. We have to scuff that in there and prime that, and then we're going to do some seam sealing. And then we're going to fix the rot right there. And there's a little hole right there. And we have some on the other side that we got to fix. And then we'll start sanding the whole thing down for paint. Stay tuned. Here's what we're getting into today. Going to have to make a piece from here, shaped like an L, to weld in here. I got to patch this piece first, and we'll L shape that one, and then we'll put a piece in this spot here for that rot hole, and then we'll move on to this piece over here. We should be done by today with the metal work and fiberglass work on this 73 Sierra today. Here from Harrington Classic Car Restorations. Like I said earlier in the last video, we got a lot of stuff done today. If you look over here, we got all the patches made for the inside of this here, and we did the fiberglass work, and there's the other one. We had to make this lip, we had to make a patch for in here, we had to make this patch here, and then the patch on top of that. And we also, we'll go to the other side really quick. We also finished the body work in there, and we started sanding the inside of the truck with 320 so we can get that ready for paint. So stay tuned on this one. Okay, so we added our flattener to our paint, 60-40 mix. So it's 60% paint, 40% flattener. Using our 3M PPS cup and liner with the SodaJet RP digital, and we're ready to go. We also got our suit on. As you can see, put the suit on. Need to have the suit. There we go. We're going to wait 15 minutes between each coat. We got the first coat on, and we're just going to let that flash off for 15 minutes, and then we'll put the second coat on, see how it looks, and we'll see if we have to put a third coat on or not. Shouldn't really have to, but we'll see what happens. Stay tuned. Okay, here you are, all painted, baked and dried. Check that out. I'd love to have a bake booth. So if you get access to one, try and get one. Makes everything go so much faster.